Right, welcome to my blog for November 2012. This one comes from Namibia, and I'm driving and taking this vehicle for a test, Volkswagen Amarok. I'm driving with my close friend and brother-in-law Tom Roberts, who I have to just mention now is insane. He's riding a bicycle from Cape Agulhas to John O'Groats in Scotland. Yes, you heard right, a bicycle. More of that later, much more of that later. Anyway, I've just been thinking about, I'm not going to talk too much about the Volkswagen Amarok now because I've had it only for 2 days and trying to get to know it and learn its nice points and bad points, and so far a lot more nice points than bad points. So enjoying the vehicle. I wanted to talk about four-wheel drives and what four-wheel drives have improved and which ones have got worse. I think I'll start with the ones that have got worse. You probably won't agree with me, but this is just my opinion. Let's take the Porsche Cayenne. Now, my first Porsche Cayenne was the first model. It was the S model. It was, I mean, unbelievably nice to drive on the road. And looks are subjective, but when you took that vehicle on a gravel road, it was terrible. The suspension was hard, the ride was awful, so it really was a road car. I quite liked the look of it, even though it was quite ugly. It kind of grew on me. But the new Cayenne, they've sorted out the ride, but it looks like a Hyundai. I defy anybody to tell the difference at 30-40 meters. The difference between that and a Honda. I defy anybody to actually be able to tell the two apart. It's ugly. What else has got worse? You probably know my opinion of Pajero. The early Pajeros were good vehicles. They were aimed at the Range Rover market, and there was even an advert I remember had a Discovery, sorry, a Defender and a Range Rover, and in the middle there was a Pajero. This advert would have come out in the mid-80s probably, and the headline, the advert read, "The middle of the Range Rover," and it was for Pajero, because they were basically saying, well, it's in the middle of, you know, between the rough and ready Defender type vehicle and Range Rover was the Pajero. Good vehicle. Then the second and third generations, good vehicle. And when they came out with the one with the re-rounded wheel arches, I didn't like the look of it at all. And it's still a good car, you know, performance-wise, you know. And I think they've steadily got worse and worse and worse. The engine's old now. They've covered them in plastic. They've lowered the ground clearance. Sorry, it hasn't got better, it's got worse. What else has got worse? The X5 has just got worse looking. Then they made a thing called an X6, which really is only really designed, I mean, if you think of it, it's a fairly pointless vehicle. It's actually designed for people with huge egos and no taste. So when you see one rushing up behind you in the traffic, you think, okay, here comes somebody with a huge ego. I mean, you know, because they're horrible cars. So when BMW are developing their four-wheel drive range, they're getting worse and worse and worse. The X1 must be one of the ugliest cars on the road. I mean, it just is tasteless. And the X5 is in that ilk, still one of the better ones of the non-off-road, you know, high-spec all-wheel drive SUVs. You know, I've never owned one, but I suppose it's one of the better ones, but the rest are just awful. What else? What else is getting worse? You think of anything getting worse? I can think of a few getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, I take the pickup market. The Ford Ranger. The new Ford Ranger is an impressive vehicle. Engine has got better and better and better. The old V6 Ford engine was awful. The old automatic gearbox was just the pits. It used to drive along and used to hunt gears all the time. It was the slightest hill and you fourth, and then fifth, and then fourth, and then fifth, and then drive your, the new ones, the new Rangers. Boy, what a nice pickup that is. Really, really impressive. The Hilux has definitely got better. The current shape, or similar to the current shape, the first ones were underbraked in a big way. They've sorted that out. The auto gearboxes in the Hilux, none better. No pickup has a better auto gearbox than the Hilux. The ride has got better. The early Hiluxes, I'm also talking about the current shape. The ride wasn't nice at all. On a rough track, horrible ride. New one, much better. Discovery. The first Discovery, I actually really liked that vehicle. I still like it in terms of a vehicle that is, if you've got very little money to spend and you want to get into the four-wheel drive scene, Discovery 1, you buy them for nothing. They're not particularly reliable, but you're buying them for nothing. If you are able to kind of keep it going yourself, fix it yourself, fantastic. You've got to send them to a Land Rover dealer every time it goes wrong. Nah, don't buy a Land Rover. You need to buy maybe a Hilux or something. But if you can fix it yourself, yeah, then go for a second-hand Land Rover. But the new Discovery 4 is a leap as wide as the fissure of a canyon when it comes to pure performance. I never liked Discovery 2, particularly because they took out the center differential lock. Discovery 3, ergonomically, performance, engine, I mean really everything is such a huge improvement over Discovery 2. Right, why am I in Namibia? I'm in Namibia to film some of my TV show. I'm up to Etosha. You know, I've never visited Etosha. It's the one part of Namibia I've never been to. Going to Etosha. Also then going to Caprivi. I've been to Caprivi and being pampered in some luxury lodges. And these, what I'm shooting now, will be part of my TV show 4-wheel drive on DSTV 265 Ignition, 8:30 in the evenings, weekends, all through November, December and most of January. See you then.